I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And I want to begin the show a little differently tonight. I want to start with a little bit of a riddle. And I know you, as true crime fans, will take the opportunity to try to solve this whole thing before it's over. But it's about some people and what they have in common. So I'm going to go through a list of people and think to yourself, what do these people have in common? Let's begin. Elon Musk. You know who Elon Musk is, right? Mr. Tesla, billionaire, world's richest guy, SpaceX, all of that, okay? So think of Elon Musk first. Second, what does he have in common with this man? James Franco, celebrated actor, been nominated for an Oscar, won a Golden Globe. He's also a filmmaker, very celebrated in the film industry, okay? So now we've got Elon Musk, James Franco, and one more I'll throw at you. Johnny Depp. There he is. You know Johnny Depp. I mean, I know Johnny Depp from back on 21 Jump Street when his career really started and then took off. Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously, Edward Scissorhands. This guy in 2012 set a world record as the highest paid actor anywhere of all time. So extremely celebrated actor, a little quirky though, right? A little quirky. So what do Elon Musk, James Franco, and Johnny Depp all have in common? Well, they are all scheduled and expected to testify in court, in a trial, with a camera in the courtroom that you'll see right here on your front row seat to justice. Okay, let me tell you what the case is and what it's all about. Whew, it's a defamation case. It is Johnny Depp versus his ex, Amber Heard. And in this case, it all starts and is based upon something that Amber Heard said in an op-ed from the Washington Post, where she said, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change." That was something that was published in the Washington Post back in 2018. Now, in this article, she doesn't name her ex, Johnny Depp, but Johnny Depp is alleging that is the statement that defamed him, that ruined and destroyed his career. He lost Pirates of the Caribbean. He lost other parts, amounting to millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. Now, I want to play for you a little bit of Amber Heard here. This is from a deposition in 2016. The two of them, they were married for just over a year, 2015 into 2016. Then they were divorced. It was a bitter, bitter divorce. But at the heart of this whole defamation case is the allegation by Amber Heard that she was the victim of domestic violence, and Johnny Depp making the allegation that none of that is true. So let's get to some of what this is based upon in terms of what happened in the lives and the relationship of these two, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Here's Amber Heard, August 13th, 2016, deposition.
House on May 21, 2016, that Johnny Depp had ever done anything wrong to you, that night or before?
You're asking me if I've told them?
If you told them on May 21, yes.
Again, I said to them, I decline to give any statement at this time as per the advice of my counsel. They did make a comment to me about it seeming unsafe. That's why they needed to check the apartment. They made a gesture to my face. They said that I looked hurt. They also pulled me aside and said, look, just say a statement. We can make sure you're safe. Just say a statement or give us a statement and we'll go get the guy. And they said the exact same thing to Josh.
Is it your testimony that a police officer on May 21
yes.
told you that it appeared you looked hurt?
He or she gestured, I can't remember which one, to my face and said, we can tell you've been hurt or you don't look good or something to that effect, but I don't remember the exact words they used.
But something to that effect?
Yeah.
So this is an allegation related to something that happened in 2016. Now, she's alleging that she's the victim there and describing kind of what happened when officers responded to that. Now, let me read for you from Johnny Depp's complaint, where he has a completely different take on what happened back in 2016. And in the complaint, Johnny Depp alleges that the op-ed's clear implication, again, putting the op-ed together with what happened in 2016, is that Mr. Depp is a domestic abuser, is categorically and demonstrably false. Mr. Depp never abused Ms. Heard. Her allegations against him were false when they were made in 2016. They were part of an elaborate hoax to generate positive publicity for Ms. Heard and advance her career. Ms. Heard's false allegations against Mr. Depp have been conclusively refuted by 2 separate responding officers, a litany of neutral third-party witnesses, and 87 newly obtained surveillance camera videos. So, you've got a he said, she said about what exactly is going on in this relationship. She's claiming to be a victim of domestic violence, wrote about that in that op-ed, didn't name Johnny Depp, but they are alleging the clear implication is it refers to Johnny Depp because publicly she spoke about this in 2016. He's saying it's all false. She's saying it's true. That's what this case is about. That's what the case is about. You know, in defamation cases, the #1 defense to defamation, there are many of them, but the first one is the truth. If what I said was true, I cannot defame you. You can't sue me for defamation. You can't win if what I said was true, and that's what she's saying. Everything she said was true. Johnny Depp saying, no, it's false. You knew it was false, and you did it to ruin my career. You knew exactly what would happen. This trial's happening in April. It's coming up in just a few weeks. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in the Bronx, New York, criminal defense attorney Renee Hill. In Houston, Texas, criminal defense attorney Carmen Rowe. And in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, law professor at Emory University and Georgia Innocence Project board member Molly Palmer. Great to see everyone tonight. All right, Renee, I will begin with you. 2 big celebrities here. Volatile relationship. It didn't last long. Things got ugly. But now it's all about defamation and what did or did not happen. What is this trial going to look like inside that courtroom?
I think it's going to be almost like a movie. You have these big celebrities that are going to be testifying. You know that you're going to hear from both of them. You're going to hear both sides. And then we're going to hear from other witnesses, unrelated, that will come in, and they're going to talk about what they observed. The police officers are key in this case that responded to the scene at the time that any allegations were made or phone calls were made requesting the police to come out. So I think it's going to turn on what those officers have to say, because obviously, like you said, they have to get to whether or not the statements were true. And if they were true, then she's going to walk away. But if they are not true, she's going to be opening up that purse and then shelling out a lot of coin.
If this was such a toxic relationship, Carmen, I think a lot of people at home can relate to that if they've been in one or know someone that's been in that relationship where these 2 people just should not be together. And that is clear to me. But the question is, this jury now has to figure out exactly is what was going on, who was right, who was wrong, and who was the aggressor.
Vinny, absolutely. And this is going to be a tough battle because we have some prior findings that the allegations against Johnny Depp in this case are substantially true, according to the United Kingdom case. And there have been other findings, including her getting a restraining order shortly after the divorce was filed, where she had to make a showing to get that order that she was abused. So, you know, Johnny Depp says none of it's true. This is going to be a he said, she said. It's going to be a star-studded event, and it's going to get ugly.
Now, it's a civil case. So, Molly, not only is there the complaint, whenever you get sued, and when I practiced civil law, this was very common. If my client gets sued, well, we're going to deny it. And then guess what? We're going to sue you in a counterclaim. So here's Amber Heard's counter complaint against Johnny Depp. Remember, he sued her for $50 million for defamation. Here's what Amber Heard has to say. Before he was even married to Ms. Heard, Mr. Depp threatened to kill her and otherwise harm her in private messages to friends. These threats were realized in the form of the rampant physical violence and abuse Ms. Heard suffered at Mr. Depp's hands before and during their marriage. The frivolous lawsuit Mr. Depp has filed against Ms. Heard continues that abuse and harassment. Mr. Depp and/or his agents acting on his behalf have orchestrated a false, and defamatory smear campaign against Ms. Heard that has included false and defamatory statements to reporters, repeatedly accusing Ms. Heard of being a liar and a hoax artist, and accusing Ms. Heard of the crime of perjury. Through this counterclaim, Ms. Heard is finally, after all these years fighting back, Ms. Heard asked this court to hold Mr. Depp fully and finally accountable for his conduct and to end Mr. Depp's abuse lodged from a position of wealth and power. And she is asking for $100 million, Molly Parmer, which Johnny Depp has. You know, it's not like we're asking for numbers that can't be paid here. These are superstars. So she's now countersuing against him for the same thing, defamation. And today in court, Johnny Depp tried to get it tossed, the counterclaim, but the judge said, no, the jury's going to hear it all. So this is interesting for a jury, right? Because you got one side accusing and one side accusing. You've got to figure out, first of all, who's right, who's wrong, what it's worth, who's telling the truth. Not an easy job for the jury.
No, and I think all of these intersecting legal principles is going to make it really complicated too. So Johnny Depp, as you said, asked the court to dismiss her countersuit. But what the court said was that, listen, you know, what she's basically alleging is that your lawsuit is a nuisance, and she was just writing this op-ed, which was it discussed an issue of public concern. And so we have what we call anti-slap laws that say you are allowed under the First Amendment to discuss things that are of public concern. So in this case, domestic violence. And so now basically she has that as an additional defense to truth, right? That this is not defamation because it's an issue of public concern and she should be allowed to speak about domestic violence to the masses. So really legally complicated. And of course, I think, you know, like Renee said, like a movie, fascinating stuff.
All right, let me ask you, Renee Hill. Johnny Depp, obviously there's a little bit of has been taken from his star that was shining so brightly, right? People aren't hiring him, but he's alleging that's part of the damage here. But how does that play in front of a jury in terms of credibility, which is the essence of this case, is going to be his credibility versus her credibility, how it matches up with what other people have to say. But do you think his star factor can still shine inside of a courtroom when he gets on the witness stand?
Of course it can. I believe that it can, but the jurors are going to, you know, they're going to have to separate that when they go into deliberations. And it's going to be hard, you know, because it's going to come down to a personality contest. Who do they like more? Who do they want to believe? Who do they believe based upon what they hear? And of course, the burden of proof in civil cases is different than what it is in criminal cases. It's a lower standard. And so I think that with all of the finger pointing that's going to be going on, it's going to be extremely difficult for jurors to figure out what's happening here and whether or not they should find fault.
Yeah, I always find it fascinating too when actors are in court. I mean, jurors know that they're actors, so
right.
How do you judge the credibility of someone who can become anyone and convince you? You know, we watch these movies, whether it's Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, we watch these movies and wow, these performances are so real, so powerful, but now it's real life. What's real, what isn't real? Let's do this. When we come back, we're going to talk about what Carmen mentioned. There was a trial that was very similar to what we are going to see in Virginia. It happened, though, in the UK. Johnny Depp didn't do that well in that case. Will that impact this case? Does that give us any idea the way this testimony and these allegations will be heard by an American jury versus some UK judges?